What if I told you that monsters are real? Wait a minute before you scroll away and hear me out. I'm talking about the actual creatures that inspired the scariest legends in history. For centuries, people whispered about mysterious beasts in the dark. Were they real or just stories? Today, science has finally solved these ancient mysteries, and honestly, the truth is even more incredible than the myths themselves. So grab your popcorn, because we're about to uncover the real monsters hiding behind the legends. The chupacabra, the goat sucker. Let's start in Puerto Rico, 1995. Farmers woke up to a nightmare. Their goats lay dead with 2 small holes punctured in their necks. Every drop of blood gone. They all had a fundamental question. What sucked their goats dry? Panic spread like wildfire. What creature drinks blood like this? Soon, everyone was talking about the chupacabra, the goat sucker. Witnesses described a monster with gray skin, glowing red eyes, and razor-sharp teeth. Some said it looked like a small dinosaur. Others swore it was a cursed dog from hell. Some even said it was a cursed person from hell. Most accusations were directed to hell. The terror spread across Mexico, Texas, and Florida. More dead animals, more mysterious wounds. The chupacabra was everywhere. Then scientists stepped in. They examined the bodies of captured chupacabras and discovered something unexpected. Every single one was a coyote or wild dog suffering from mange, a horrific skin disease that causes all fur to fall off. These desperately sick, starving animals attacked livestock the way any predator would. But their terrifying appearance, that's what turned them into monsters in people's minds. The kraken, the ocean monster. Now let's dive deep. For hundreds of years, Norwegian and Icelandic sailors told tales of the kraken, a massive sea beast with tentacles powerful enough to drag entire ships into the abyss. Most people dismissed these as drunken sailor stories until the 1850s. Scientists began finding enormous beaks washed up on beaches, beaks bigger than anything they'd ever seen. Then came the bodies, massive squids as long as a bus. Meet the giant squid and colossal squid. They lurk in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean where sunlight never reaches. Their eyes, as big as basketballs, the largest in the animal kingdom. They need them to hunt in complete darkness. Their arms are covered with powerful suckers and sharp hooks that can tear through flesh. Dead whales have been discovered bearing massive circular scars, silent battle wounds left behind by colossal deep-sea giants. No one had ever seen one alive until 2004, when Japanese scientists finally captured footage of a giant squid gliding through the darkness, hunting in depths beyond human reach. Now imagine you're a sailor in the 1700s on a wooden ship. Something massive rises from the deep beside you, tentacles and enormous eyes, unlike anything you've ever seen. You'd absolutely believe you were facing a monster trying to kill you. The kraken isn't a myth. It's been hiding in the ocean's depths this whole time. The cyclops, the one-eyed giant. Ever wonder why ancient Greeks believed in one-eyed giants? In their mythology, the cyclops was a brutal giant with a single massive eye in the center of his forehead. For thousands of years, people thought this was pure fantasy. Then scientists made an astonishing discovery in Greek island caves: giant skulls with one huge hole right in the center of the forehead. If you didn't know better, you'd swear it was the skull of a one-eyed giant. The truth is, these skulls belonged to dwarf elephants that lived on Greek islands thousands of years ago. That central hole wasn't for an eye, it's where the elephant's trunk connected to its skull. But ancient Greeks had never seen an elephant. They had no context for what they were looking at. So when they found these massive skulls with a central cavity, their conclusion was logical. One-eyed monsters exist. And just like that, the legend of the Cyclops was born. Ancient people weren't stupid. They just didn't have all the facts and filled in the blanks with imagination so they could have answers. Dragons, fire-breathing beasts. Dragons appear in almost every culture on Earth. Europe, China, Japan, South America, and Africa. Why? Because people everywhere kept finding dinosaur bones. Imagine you're a medieval farmer digging in your field. You unearth a massive skull with huge, razor-sharp teeth, bigger than any animal you know exists. What would you think? Monster, dragon, man-eater. In Europe, people found dinosaur fossils and called them dragon bones. In China, they've been discovering them for over 2,000 years. They ground them into powder and sold them as medicine, believing dragon bones had magical healing powers. Even today, you can still buy dragon bone powder in some Chinese medicine shops. It's literally crushed dinosaur fossils. But there's more. Some scientists think dragons might also be inspired by real animals that still exist, like the Komodo dragon, the world's largest lizard. It grows up to 10 feet long and has a venomous bite that can kill a human. It's basically a small, wingless dragon. When ancient people encountered these creatures without any scientific knowledge, calling them dragons made perfect sense. Vampires, blood-drinking monsters. Vampires are one of the monsters we've gotten used to knowing over the years. But do you know the legend behind it? Well, it went like this. In the 1700s, Eastern Europe experienced what historians call the vampire panic. People were literally digging up corpses because they believed the dead were rising at night to drink blood. Here's what was really happening. People didn't understand decomposition. They'd bury someone, then dig them up weeks later to find the body looking strangely alive. Pink skin, blood around the mouth, longer-looking hair and nails, a swollen body. They thought, oh, that's odd, must be a vampire. But these are all normal stages of decomposition. Gases build up, making bodies look bloated. Blood gets pushed out through the mouth. Hair and nails don't actually grow. The skin just shrinks, making them appear longer. There's also a real disease called porphyria. People with this condition can't go out in sunlight. It literally burns their skin. The disease makes gums recede, so teeth look like fangs. In extreme cases, it even causes cravings for blood. Then there's rabies, a disease that makes people afraid of water and sunlight, violent, and prone to biting others. Put it all together, strange-looking corpses, sun-sensitive diseases, and rabies, and you have all the ingredients for vampire legends. Werewolves, human wolves. In medieval Europe, people were accused of being werewolves, much like the witchcraft accusations of the past, where mere suspicion could lead to brutal trials, executions, and people being burned alive. One famous case was Peter Stump in Germany, 1589. He confessed to transforming into a wolf and killing people. He was executed. Was he really a werewolf? Of course not. But he might have been a serial killer, and the werewolf story gave people a way to explain his horrific crimes. There's also a real condition called hypertrichosis, where people grow thick hair all over their bodies and faces. In medieval times, someone with this condition would absolutely be called a monster. And then there's clinical lycanthropy, a mental illness where people genuinely believe they're turning into animals. They howl, walk on all fours, and even bite people. Werewolves weren't supernatural. They were people with medical conditions or mental illnesses that no one understood. Sea serpents, giant ocean snakes. In the year 1817, hundreds of people in Massachusetts, ship captains, businessmen, and town officials reported seeing a sea serpent in the harbor. Respected people who wouldn't lie all described the same thing, a creature about 60 feet long moving through the water in a wavy, snake-like motion. So what was it? Scientists now believe most sea serpent sightings were oarfish, the longest bony fish in the world. Growing up to 36 feet long, they have a bright red fin running down their entire body and move in a wavy pattern that looks exactly like a snake. Oarfish normally live very deep in the ocean, but when they're sick or dying, they come to the surface. Sailors who'd never seen one would absolutely mistake it for a sea monster. If I were born in that era, I would also call it a sea monster. All of this proves the human urge to put a name to and try to understand what they see as odd and out of place. So there you have it. 7 mythical monsters that were actually real or based on something real. Our ancestors weren't crazy. They saw real things and tried to explain them with the knowledge they had. They created stories that made sense in their world. The difference today, we have science. But even now, 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. New creatures are discovered every year, and sometimes people still see things they can't explain. So the next time you hear a strange sound at night, remember, monsters are real. They're just not always what we expect or what we understand. Which creatures surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. And if you want more stories like this, smash that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stay curious.